Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Saturday, October 1st. Around 11 a.m. Mountain Time 2022, the models are in. Snow's coming to the Rockies. Heavy snow could be coming to Ontario and Quebec. But the big story is Hurricane Ian's aftermath. It's a nightmare, but we're alive. Keep calm. It's boom time. Well, the destruction is epic down at Fort Myers, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen some of this footage. Literally nothing left where once there were homes. Now, some homes were built very, very well here, and those are standing amongst the destruction. Homes on their sides, splintered piles of wood. While this brick house looks no worse for the wear. Now, most of the people affected in this area were very poor communities, and our hearts go out to them. There are currently tens of thousands of homeless people, shell-shocked. They don't know what to do. And most of them are on Florida's islands. Scenes of paradise lost, and maybe for good. Here is a picture of rescue workers on Fort Myers Beach just walking through what appears to be a war zone. And not only that, there is no electric and no water in many of these regions still. We're going to get to the power outage map in a minute. But many communities were wiped out, especially the poor communities. Trailer parks, mobile home developments, completely wiped from the map. And here we have a quote here. It's been very difficult. I know what it's like to be homeless and not have simple things like a bathroom. We are lucky that we are alive. There are a lot of people on Sanibel and down in Fort Myers that have lost their lives. And where I'm staying, there are lots of homeless people now. So we have a humanitarian crisis developing here. When you have no electricity and no water for an extended period of time, then you're going to start to spread disease and more people will die. And it turns out that Lee County, the hardest hit county, well, while facing a dire storm forecast in Florida, they delayed evacuation in Lee County. This is the hardest hit county. This is where the most deaths are going to come from. And it was a single day of hesitation in Lee County, despite warnings that the Fort Myers and Cape Coral area could see mass flooding, and we warned about that for at least 72 hours prior. But they waited too long, and when they finally told people to leave, they couldn't. It was too late. Now Florida hospitals are without running water and face a sanitation crisis in the wake of Hurricane Ian. Well, this isn't like something that just developed. The proper prior planning would have known this. There should be backup water, backup electricity at hospitals. So in a grid down scenario, you can continue to work without people getting sick. So what we have is now a lot of people going to the bathroom and not flushing toilets in this area. And that's going to be ongoing for some time because the power is going to be out for a while. We'll just click over on Florida. There's 1.2 million customers without power, and most of those are in the hard-hit counties here: Lee, Charlotte, and Hardee. Charlotte has almost 75% without power, and Lee is pretty similar. So there is power in these regions, but most people don't have power. Nobody has water in many of these places. And here we're going to look at some more aftermath pictures. These aren't on the coast. This is a day after the coastal storm. Central Florida rivers are flooding. And what we're looking at here is the Peace River. The Peace River is now cresting 10 times its normal level. It was 6,000 CFS before Ian. During Ian, it rose, and it's continuing to rise above major flood stage, and it's now at 50,000 plus cubic feet per second. And it's maybe leveling off. But there's going to be lots of flooding in Central Florida and more destruction. Just look at this. The entire village here, where trailers and mobile homes, some of them floating, some of them on their sides. This will be a complete loss for these people. And the Peace River isn't the only river. There are many other rivers currently flooding. And then the storm re-strengthened and made landfall north of Charleston, South Carolina, where it destroyed many piers, almost a half a dozen gone, including Pawleys Island Pier, completely destroyed. And there was pretty dramatic storm surge on Pawleys Island as well, maybe 3 to 4 feet above ground level. Now, lots of those houses are built starting on the second floor for occupation, so much less devastation than happened in Fort Myers, Naples, in that region. But there are millions upon millions of people affected by this, so it could all help if we collectively send them a little bit of our prayers and our thoughts and our hopes, and donate to some of the causes, but don't get scammed. And here we can see the remnants right now offshore, it looks like, of Pennsylvania, New Jersey there, and Connecticut. Those are the remnants of Ian, which is finally going to move out and away, thankfully. Now, here we are at the winter forecast. Now, we've been waiting for the snow to pop up. Heavy snow in British Columbia. There's 56 inches showing up. 16 plus inches here in Quebec and Ontario. So we do have a snow event coming in about a week to this region. This starts this weekend here. The event that goes through Quebec and Ontario here starts on Thursday morning through Friday and Saturday. And during that whole time, we're going to have snow in the Rockies here starting tonight and lasting for days. And then we have a system showing up sometime around the 10th that's going to bring heavy precipitation to the West Coast, specifically British Columbia. So we'll keep a close eye on the snow totals as the snow begins to fall across the high elevations. Widespread showers in the mid-Atlantic. Widespread showers and some thunderstorms from Ian may produce isolated flash flooding today in the central Appalachians and into the mid-Atlantic and southern New England through the weekend. Hazardous conditions persist along portions of the East Coast. Showers and thunderstorms at higher elevation, snow possible across the central and southern Rockies. So we do have one winter storm warning issued in southeastern Montana where that snow is going to be picking up. There are some flash flood warnings here in western North Carolina and West Virginia near Asheville. So heads up there. The Broad River there, I'm sure, is cresting. Seismic update. The ongoing seismic swarm on the Reykjanes Ridge continues with a large rumbler that we predicted yesterday. Based on this, there could be larger events, and certainly enough, there was an M6 just a few hours ago. Most recent quake happening in Kyushu, Japan, 5.7. But overall, we're looking good on the seismic front. Still an uptick here at the Reykjanes Ridge, where dozens, now approaching 100 quakes have happened in just the last few days. And it's still ongoing. Here we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quakes today with that 6 magnitude. So this is potentially a subsurface eruption at the mid-ocean ridge. Fortunately, it's down 3 to 4 kilometers here, and based on the pressure, this stuff does not make it to the surface. So it stays down there, folks. And that might be what's happening on the mid-ocean ridges. Now, the bigger picture is that maybe the Earth has started to shift a little. We've been watching this mid-ocean ridge activity for years, and now it's picking up a little bit. So maybe the mid-ocean ridges are becoming active, and the Earth is actually growing because of the weakening magnetic field. But we'll keep a close eye on it as we speculate. Worldwide volcano news update. Not a lot going on with volcanoes worldwide. They did lower the alert status at White Island, but I still would not take a vacation there or do any camping in the near future. All other than that, it looks pretty standard activity worldwide. Now, space weather news update. We do have a 3-day geomagnetic storm watch in effect, and we've been at KP0 for 9 of the last 12 hours. So you already knew I said that. There was an M2.9 that kicked off just under 24 hours ago right here. That is not headed to Earth. That is a new active region coming over the limb that will be Earth-facing in a few days. What we are waiting for is the coronal holes to couple and send us into geomagnetic storm. Now, it has not occurred yet. Density is pretty stable. Speed is stable, holding it around 450 kilometers per second. If we do get a heavy density stream from this coronal hole, it's going to push this up towards the 650 level, which could bring us up to KP6. And here, in fact, is the 3-day geomagnetic forecast showing a max of KP6 today, KP5 tomorrow, and KP5 on the 3rd. So heads up, we do have some geomagnetic activity headed our way. We're also at that dangerous 180 phi angle where we could be seeing some large seismic activity in the form of a big earthquake today. So buckle your seatbelts as we reveal some of the real news coming out today on the mainstream Googler. Climate change confusion Extreme heat waves are not taking place more frequently than expected. Even though the mainstream media has been touting this all summer, what a bummer. The paper came out. How unexpected was the 2021 Pacific Northwest heat wave? Well, it was completely expected. Natural climate variability is the norm, not linear, one-way upward, human fear-mongering climate change models like Michael Mann's hockey stick. Climate change occurs in cycles, 10-year, 30-year, 60-year, 100-year, 1,000-year. There are layers upon layers of cycles. And one of our subscribers just sent this to me today. This paper on natural climate variability, the modeled climate response to the 18.6-year lunar nodal cycle. This is the lunar standstill, and it has a role in decadal temperature trends. Not man. It's not you. In this case, it's the moon. And that's a boom. But before we end up, let's talk about some crazy stuff going on. Well, there's crazy stuff going on worldwide. We're about to go into nuclear war, perhaps, in just the coming weeks. Who knows? But the CIA has just invested in the woolly mammoth resurrection technology. We reported on this about a month ago that some big philanthropist billionaires are going to resurrect woolly mammoths and maybe dinosaurs and put them on an island somewhere so we can go see them. Well, didn't they make a movie about that and it went very wrong? Now the CIA is involved. So what could go wrong? I wonder if they'll use them to depopulate the earth. Now, Trudeau government is allowing China to open police stations in Canada. Are you picking it up? Mind blown. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance in a dystopian world where the powers that be are collapsing. Financial markets. We have inflation peaking. The prices of everything are through the roof. And, well, the wealth of the world is being extracted as the population declines. You come to the Oppenheimer Ranch Project for peace of mind. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people and be safe. That's a boom.